In 2009, Kenya witnessed one of the strangest moments in its political history. That strange moment was a press conference that took place at State House. President Mwai Kibaki, usually calm and reserved, stood awkwardly in front of the cameras. Beside him was his wife, Lucy Kibaki, looking serious and not even blinking. Then the president spoke in a firm, defensive tone, saying clearly that he had only one wife, and that wife was Lucy.
You know, and I know, and everybody else knows that I'm married and I have only one wife.
The whole country was shocked. Never before had a Kenyan president held a press conference to declare loyalty to one woman. And you may ask, what made a whole president do this? Well, rumors had spread that President Kibaki had a second wife, and this story caused huge embarrassment for the first family. And Lucy, angry and determined to protect the family's name, wanted the rumors to end. And she made sure that everyone had a husband, or the president say it himself.
And I have only one wife.
Lucy Kibaki was a first lady not to be messed with. Remember, not to be messed with. She was bold, outspoken, and never afraid to speak her mind, no matter who was watching. And this wasn't the only time she shocked Kenyans. There were many other moments. Some loud, some unexpected, and yes, even some that involved slaps.
Give that camera, you can't.
So let's talk about it.
You hurt Kenyans? You hurt our friends.
For those wondering who Lucy Kibaki was, she was the first, and let's be clear, the only wife of Kenya's dad president, Emilio Stanley Mwai Kibaki. Some people only remember the older images of Lucy Kibaki and think that she was always that way. But once upon a time, she was a young, beautiful woman. Or as people say today, she was a baddie. If you're older, you might say she was a diva. Just look at these pictures. And remember, back then, there were no filters or AI. What you like using today. This was real, natural beauty. But she wasn't just beautiful, she was also educated. But before we talk about the education, let's talk a bit about her background. Now, Lucy Muthoni Kibaki came from Nyeri, which is in Kenya's Central Highlands. She was the daughter of a Presbyterian church minister, so she grew up in a disciplined Christian home. She attended the Alliance Girls High School, one of the best schools in the country. And after completing education, she trained as a teacher, first teaching at Kamwenja's Teachers College and later at Kambui College. It was there that she met a young, handsome Mwai Kibaki, a bright economist who had left his teaching job at Makerere University in Uganda in the 1960s to join politics as an organizer for the ruling KANU party. Now, these two, their relationship grew quickly. Mwai Kibaki was calm and thoughtful, while Lucy was lively, firm, and outspoken. After they married, she left teaching to take care of their family and support her husband's political career. The couple went on to have 4 children and built a strong household that reflected both discipline and ambition. Through the years, Lucy became one of Mwai Kibaki's closest supporters. When he ran for president several times and lost, Lucy was there beside him at every campaign rally. People close to the family say that while Kibaki handled politics quietly, Lucy managed the home and the people around Mwai Kibaki with strong authority. Mark that, strong authority. Those who met her described her as tough and fearless, never afraid to speak her mind, even to powerful men. When Mwai Kibaki finally won the presidency in 2002, after years in opposition, Lucy Kibaki became Kenya's first active first lady in more than 2 decades. Why do I say active? Now, during President Moi's long rule, this man ruled for 24 years, his wife Lena Moi had lived away from public life. She was not that active, leaving the position of first lady almost forgotten. People didn't really remember or even care about that position. But Lucy Kibaki changed that overnight. She appeared at national events, spoke in public, and represented the office of the First Lady in ways no one had done before. She began projects focusing on health and HIV awareness, and often attended functions involving women and children. However, there was something about Lucy Kibaki. She had very strict views about health, which sometimes clashed with real-life policies. For example, in 2006, she caused trouble when talking about stopping HIV and AIDS. She spoke against using condoms, saying that those who are still in school have no business having access to condoms. adding that those who are in university and are not married have no business having condoms in their halls of residence. The sure, you know them. And it's true. The university is a reading ground, not a breeding ground. See what I did there? And that was just one example showing Lucy Kibaki was no ordinary first lady. Just months after her husband became president, she's reported to have shut down a bar inside State House. She didn't want anyone to get drunk. And inside State House, her word carried a lot of weight. Reports claim that many civil servants found her unpredictable. Some feared her temper, while others admired her energy. Her strong personality made her both respected and controversial. Now, let's talk about the controversial part. In the early years of Kibaki's presidency, Lucy saw her role as more than just a formality. She believed that she had to protect her husband, especially when he was recovering from a car accident that had left him with leg injuries during the 2002 campaign period. She often intervened in political matters and was fiercely protective of her family's image. Now, when rumors began spreading that the president had another wife, she took it as a personal attack, not just gossip. By 2009, those rumors had spread even more. A woman named Mary Wamboi, said to be close to the president, was being introduced in some circles as a second wife. Now, this story appeared in newspapers, radio shows, and on television. It embarrassed the first family and divided public opinion. For Lucy, this was not just a political problem. It was an insult to her marriage and everything she had stood by for decades. So one night in March 2009, she decided the issue would be settled publicly. She insisted on a press conference at State House. That evening, the journalists were called in without notice. When the cameras started rolling, the nation saw a scene that looked more like a movie. It was a family dispute more than an official address.
Welcome to this press conference.
President Kibaki stood with his hands folded. His face blank. Lucy stood next to him, firm and confident. Now, the president calmly stated that he had only one wife, Lucy, and the other stories suggesting otherwise were lies.
You know, and I know, and everybody else knows that I'm married and I have only one wife. And everyone in Kenya knows it. But the media keeps repeating about my having another wife or wives. I want to make it very clear that I have only one dear wife, Lucy, who's here, and I do not have any other.
After he spoke, Lucy took over, accusing the media of spreading falsehoods and damaging their family's name.
You have been tormenting us. I don't know what to get out of it. You, Ketian, I nearly came to your studios last night to attack you the way I did in the nation.
Her voice was sharp, her tone was serious, and she wanted journalists to stop discussing their private life. To the public, it was a shocking display. The highest office in the land was now the stage for a domestic confrontation. People whispered that it was Lucy who had summoned the press and that even the president had little choice but to comply. It was a rare moment in Kenyan politics, a night when the First Lady's determination overshadowed the president himself. That press conference marked the peak of Lucy Kibaki's fame and influence. It also showed the world just how strong and bold she really was. Some Kenyans saw her as a wife defending a marriage against gossip. Others thought that she was too harsh and too loud for a first lady. But no one could deny that Lucy Kibaki was fearless and unfiltered. And Lucy continued to act as both a protector and enforcer in State House. She believed that it was her duty to defend her husband at all costs. If anyone disrespected Mwai Kibaki, she took it personally. Her reactions were emotional, but they came from a deep need to protect her family and the office of the president. Now, the one-wife moment left a lasting mark. It showed how private drama could spill into public life. Kenyans talked about it for years, analyzing every detail, how the president spoke, how Lucy looked, and how uncomfortable the entire scene felt. It was clear that Lucy Kibaki was unlike any first lady Kenya had ever seen. And that one-wife moment was only one part of her story. What followed would turn Lucy Kibaki from a private woman into one of the most controversial first ladies in Kenya's history. Now, one of the most dramatic nights happened long before the one-wife scandal. It was in May 2005 when Lucy Kibaki caused one of the biggest media stories Kenya had ever seen. The drama began on a Friday night when she interrupted a party at a neighbor's house. The neighbor, Magda Diop, was the World Bank's director for Kenya and was renting the house right next to the president's private home. Lucy complained that the music was too loud, and witnesses say that she even tried to unplug the speakers herself. She later defended her actions, saying that she was protecting the peace of the neighborhood, something she claimed she had been doing for many years. Sadly, this happened when Kenya was trying to rebuild good relations with the World Bank, which had criticized the country's widespread corruption. Now, when the media reported the story, including claims that she went to a police station to complain, Lucy was not happy. So she decided to respond in person. On Monday night, just before midnight, the First Lady showed up at the Daily Nation offices in Nairobi, the country's biggest newspaper. She arrived there with 6 security guards and senior police officers. Her main goal was to protest the story that claimed that she had recorded a police statement. When she arrived, she found journalists working the late-night shift. Angry and emotional, she declared that she had never recorded a police statement in her entire life and that she wouldn't leave until she found the person who wrote that story or that lie. She walked through the newsroom, sat at editors' desks, and lectured them about honesty, saying the newspaper should stop spreading false stories, calling it a crime. Then things got physical when she noticed a camera person named Clifford filming her. She slapped him, grabbed him, and tried to take his camera.
We're just walking.
Give that camera, you can't. You must come here for my picture.
Lucy Kibaki stayed at the newspaper offices until around 5 a.m. the next morning. She even held an impromptu press conference, speaking for more than an hour. She complained that the media was unfair to her family, had spread false stories, and didn't respect the presidency.
You hurt me, you hurt him, you hurt my children, you hurt Kenyans, you hurt our friends. Sure, but we are decent family. We are a humble family, a Christian family who does not steal from anybody.
Now, the nation raid was just one of the many public moments or incidents that built her reputation as a strong but unpredictable First Lady. There were countless other moments when she made headlines. Let's talk about what happened in 2007. During a national holiday event at State House, a senior government official named Francis was acting as the master of ceremonies. Now, in front of top leaders, ministers, and diplomats, he mistakenly introduced her as First Lady Mama Lucy Wamboi. Remember, Wamboi was the rumored second wife. And before he could finish, Lucy stood up, marched toward him, and slapped him in the face. Security officers quickly escorted him out. Journalists who captured that moment had their cameras taken away and their photos deleted. Francis was then transferred from his position in the office of the president to the Ministry of Local Government. Even the then Vice President, Mudi Awori, was not spared. Now, during one event, he mistakenly again introduced the First Lady, Lucy Kibaki, as Her Excellency the Second Lady, which deeply offended her, and as expected, Lucy immediately interrupted him in front of guests, demanding to know who the First Lady was if she was the second. Awori later apologized for that mistake, but the incident became big news across the country. In 2008, another shocking claim surfaced. Member of Parliament Gitobu Imanyara said Lucy Kibaki had attacked him at State House during a meeting between the president and lawmakers. The First Lady strongly denied the claim and threatened to sue him for defamation. Imanyara later, with the backing of the Nchuri Nchake, the Meru Council of Elders, later demanded a he-goat from the head of state. It's not in the public domain whether the goat was delivered. She also didn't stay quiet when she felt ministers were failing. In 2009, after the Nakumat fire and the Molo fuel tanker explosion that killed more than 130 people, she publicly blamed Internal Security Minister George Saitoti. She demanded, a written report explaining what had happened.
Our people seem not to know that petrol is something very dangerous. How will they know if you don't educate them? Can these people I mentioned from those two ministries explain to me? And I challenge them to tell me by writing by tomorrow, why didn't they do it?
The move caused tension and Saitoti was furious. But President Kibaki later had to release a statement saying he still trusted the minister. Earlier in the president's first term, she accused former sports minister Ochilo Ayako of neglecting sport facilities, claiming a swimming pool at the Nyayo National Stadium was full of frogs. She wondered what he was doing. Some of these things even sound unbelievable, like stories that are made up, but they actually happened. And all this information is available online if you search hard enough. I got all this information from various credible online sources. I've attached all my research down below and the script so you can check it out if you want. Now, even with all the controversies, there were sides of Lucy Kibaki that most people never saw. She was very religious, loved gospel music, and enjoyed planning community events. She supported the State House Choir, which performed during national celebrations and state dinners. People who knew her personally said she was warm and caring, especially with children and church groups. But the angry moments often covered up the kind ones. To the public, Lucy was the woman who shouted at diplomats, slapped MPs, and stormed media houses, not the quiet, caring woman who also helped with charity work. Now, after the promulgation of Kenya's new constitution in 2010, Lucy began to withdraw from public life. Her appearances became fewer and more controlled. At one of the last major public events, she danced to a gospel song during the celebrations, which was a rare but joyful moment that surprised many people. After that, she disappeared from the public eye. By 2011, Lucy Kibaki was rarely seen in public. Rumors began to circulate about her health and her relationship with State House. Some said she was unwell, others that she was simply tired of the attention. Whatever the reason, she vanished from the political scene she had once dominated. Some reports say that when President Kibaki finished his final term in 2013, Lucy didn't even go to his farewell ceremony. In April 2016, news broke that Lucy Kibaki had been flown to London for specialized medical treatment. A few days later came the sad news. She had passed away at the age of 75. The nation that had once watched her every move now mourned her. Even the critics of Lucy Kibaki admitted that she had been a strong woman, proud, loyal, and protective. Her husband Mwai Kibaki outlived her by 6 years. After her death, he largely stayed out of the public eye, living quietly until his own passing in April 2022. Lucy Kibaki's legacy remains complicated. To some, she was a brave woman who refused to be silenced in a political world dominated by men. To others, she was a symbol of excess power and uncontrollable temper. But no matter where one stands, her presence in Kenya's history cannot be ignored. She redefined what it meant to be a first lady.
The president might not take him to court. Me and my family will not take him to court over that issue. Go tell him that.
Thank you, Santi.
Thanks for watching. And remember to subscribe, to like this video, and comment down below what you think about this video or what you think about Lucy Kibaki. Let's meet in the next video.